Holly Cotton here, and I am super excited that I have the Dr. Shana today. And Dr. Shana is an executive wellness coach, a mental health expert. It is still May right now, even if you're going to stream this next month. Today is May, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I definitely wanted to get the guru of mental health, especially women mental health issues. So, welcome, Dr. Shana.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so if you guys follow Dr. Shana, first of all, if you don't, make sure that you do because Dr. Shana is always dropping some very valuable information. So you want to
Yes.
follow her on all of her social medias. But Dr. Shana has a very unique way that she words how women should be. And one of her things is she says, stop saying yes. So I love that you said that because I know women always say yes and we're always doing the most. So can you kind of tell us how you started this whole philosophy and some of the things that you are trying to educate women on?
Holly, there's so much, right? It's a loaded question, but I'm gonna give you the quickest, most straightforward answer. One of the things for me is I was on my own journey to disaster, crash, burn, carrying all of the weights, and it really started before the pandemic when I started my PhD program. It was just too much going on. I had said yes to a million things. I had, a husband, two children, a private practice for counseling. I'm a PhD student. I'm a ministry leader. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm everything to everybody else, and I was nothing to myself. So literally crashing and burning. And it was in that time frame for me that I started to have my own health issues, or I would say they were already present, but they became very pronounced, I should say, that I could no longer ignore them. And then when I started to do my own research, I found I had a whole lot of stuff wrong with me only because I had ignored myself sufficiently to that point so that I could take care of everybody else. And when I realized that that's not how it's supposed to be, it doesn't work. I stopped, I began pouring into myself, and I understood that I was not alone in that journey. There were so many other women just like me on this journey trying to take care of the world, but literally forgetting about ourselves. So when I said no is a complete sentence, when I say that our boundaries become our road striping to tell us where we begin and other people end, that it is imperative that we learn how to set those boundaries, how to create those rules in our life. It saved my life, actually. And so, because it saved mine, I really became passionate about helping other women do the very same thing. Because it's time out for us killing ourselves on behalf of other people. It's time out, Holly. We got to stop it.
Right, right. And so one of the things I think is really cool about Dr. Shana is I was actually at an event when I met her for the first time. And so I was like, "Yeah, hey, come over. Let me talk to you. I love you had the shirt
Here it is.
self-care is the
Okay,
new
it's
sexy.
sexy.
So she comes on, she's like pow 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 and I was like, "Okay, I like her." And so
Yes.
with it being May as Mental Health Awareness Month, I know that one of the things that you are doing this month is like every day is having a topic and kind of reiterating some of those mental health points for women, especially women, but men too, because I know they got their own thing too. But what are some of the 30-day thing topics, some of the 30-day topics that you've been talking about?
Oh my gosh, I've had so many great ones. Well, one of my favorite ones, well, I think the one that was the fan favorite, I should say, about how many people liked it, watched it, shared it, commented on it, was the one about boundaries one on one. And I really challenged women that day to set a boundary and choose not to do something that day, choose to say no to somebody that day. Because of what we just talked about earlier. I've talked about the differences between boundaries and rules because, Holly, we always think about boundaries as all of it, but it's not. Boundaries are really for us so we don't get hurt. Rules are what we give to other people to teach them how to operate in our world. But our rules are the result of our boundaries, right? So if you don't have a boundary with yourself, then you don't have a sufficient rule for somebody else to tell them how to operate inside of your world. Those are the two that come to mind. I've talked about gratitude. I've talked about affirmation. I've talked about so many things. This month, it has been bananas, all of the things that have been discussed and just how much women have resonated with these topics, because just these little nuggets are so helpful in us moving forward, and doing a better job of taking care of ourselves.
So I want you to reiterate what you just said about the boundaries versus rules, because you just flew right past that. And I was like, wait a minute. That actually is something that, okay, so explain, divulge the
Okay.
the boundaries versus the
Okay.
rules.
All right, so let's go a little deeper in it. So when we have heard about boundaries, we usually that's all we ever call them. We have boundaries with other people to teach them. And I used to think that too until I learned something different. But boundaries are necessary, but boundaries are the parameters we set for ourselves so we don't get hurt or harmed. So, for example, if my boundary for me is that it is so important for me to get off work at 5 o'clock so that I can get home to relax, take care of myself. That's my boundary. 5 o'clock is my boundary because that's for me. Then the rule is you can't come into my office at 4:55 and ask me to do
Mm.
nothing because I'm leaving in 5 minutes. But if I didn't have the boundary set that 5 o'clock is my stop time, then the rule would not be in place to teach you how to operate in my world. So we need both, but the boundary for ourselves comes first. Too often, we don't have good boundaries for ourselves. Boundaries of what time we should go to bed, boundaries around what we really need to be eating to support our bodies, drinking enough water. I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't have a boundary about for ourselves, so we don't have any rules. And folks is running amok in your world, and you're wondering why you're feeling stressed out, depleted, and defeated. Well, you didn't tell them how to operate because you did not put in place a frame that you are operating from first, if that makes sense.
That does. Okay, look, I wrote some notes down. Thank you, Dr.
You're
Shannon.
going to write it down, Holly.
Because
Write it
let me
down.
tell y'all something. I got some new boundaries starting today, partner. Starting today.
Yep. Good job.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about your brand is self-care is the new sexy. And so
Mhm.
first I just want to say that a lot of women I have encountered, especially as they get to this sort of midlife age, and they struggle
Mhm.
with being able to say that they're sexy about anything. So I'm like,
Mhm.
you can be sexy. It doesn't, there's a difference between sexy and trashy. Define your sexy, whatever.
Mhm.
So, one, I love that that is the word that you're using because it's
Mhm.
empowering women to own being
Mhm.
sexy and to say that it's
Yes.
acceptable to be sexy. So
Yes.
I love that
Yes.
sexy is the word that you're
Yes.
using. So how did you decide that that was going to be what you were going to brand yourself as?
So for me, so as I was on my own wellness journey, there were several things that I had to do. And so one of the most important parts for me was really exercise, honestly, because my body was weak, my muscles was puny, and I ain't saying I'm buffed up, now that y'all don't come try me now because I will get with you. Okay, don't play no game. However, in the pandemic when we were at home, I really started to get really serious about it. And so as I started to strengthen my core and my body, I realized, you know what, I feel different, not just look different, but I feel different on the inside because I felt physically strong. And then when I started creating these boundaries and these rules and these other things in my world, taking care of myself, I felt different on the inside. So when I show up differently. I show, and this is for me, that's the sexy. The sexy is an internal sexy that shows up as confidence, that shows up as assertiveness, that shows up as clarity, focus, determination, because I am so, I'm well. Like the inside of me is well, so the outside of me shows up in a way that looks very different. Because a woman who doesn't who's not confident, her body is weak and she doesn't feel good, she tired, all of these things, she's overwhelmed and stressed out. She don't walk in a room commanding, she can't. She can't, because she's missing the fundamental pieces. And to me, walking in the room very confident with my head held high, and I could have on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt and be sexy. You understand what I'm saying? Or I could have on that whole three-piece suit, whatever I needed to have on. But it's the attitude that I show up with, because I cared for the internal pieces of me that then are manifest in whatever space I find myself. So for me, sexy is an internal transformation that has an external manifestation. You get to experience my sexy, but my sexy happens on the inside of me, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. And yeah, and I love that, because I think that's also sort of what I was just saying, is that it's that whole mental part of it. And
Yes.
women tend to cower, or for whatever reason, people see your confidence as, I guess, being cocky, or I don't know
Mm.
what it is about it, but it's like, why don't more women support that? Like, why is that something that, is it because they are overwhelmed? Is it because they don't have the
Mm-hmm.
mental thought process? Do you
Mm-hmm.
ever talk to women when you're doing like coaching and things like that? Do you
Yeah.
ever, okay, so that's what you basically telling them, like, I need you to own your sexy and get your confidence?
Honey, yes. Like, if you don't own it, who is? Because it's yours. But you have to cultivate it by caring. I mean, the self care is the foundation. If I'm not cared for myself, it ain't nothing sexy about me. Because I could put on an outfit that is that I really love, but I'm not going to own it. You know what I mean? I'm not going. I'm not even going to show up in it the right way, because I'm not well. And so you think about it, Holly. When you feel good, when you've eaten really well, and I know you were exercise buff, and when you've exercised and you drunk plenty of water and you've got some good rest, and you just wake up different. You show up different. And for me, that's the thing that I'm constantly helping women understand. Is this? It's an internal process, ladies. Everything that the world sees is a manifestation of what you did or didn't do on the inside. Really, at the end of the day, and your sexy can never show up on the outside of you if you did not transform it on the inside of you. There's no way you'll be able to ever experience that part of me if I don't do the work on the inside. So we got work to do, Holly, and it's time, because can't nobody else do it. One of my other saying is, ain't nobody coming to save you, sis. The one you waiting on is you. Stop waiting on these folks to come save you, honey. And if they came, you do it over anyway, because they didn't do it right. Okay, so just do it yourself in the first place, and don't worry about them, and show up in the space in your power. Because for me, sexy is powerful. That's what it really is.
I love that. Okay, okay. So, do you ever get any negative feedback from people, especially because some people maybe aren't as embracing of the sexy or those words? Do you ever get any negative feedback about anything that you talk about?
No, not negative feedback. I think, the struggle that we have is feeling like self care is selfish, um, because we've been taught that, society has told us, well, how you going to tell these people no, and people need you, and yada, yada, yada. And we've subscribed to that. Now, I get pushback there because of how we've been, how culture has put this weight on us, right? And what I would tell us is that self care is not, um, well, two parts to it. It's not selfish in a negative way. Let me say that it is selfish because I'm doing it for self so that I can get my ish together. Okay, that's why I'm doing it. But when I get my ish together, guess who else gets theirs together? You do, because I can show up in a different way and serve you when my ish is all in line, right? And if it's not, you finna get the fumes, the leftovers. What you finna get from me is not gonna be adequate. Now we will keep trying though, Holly. We will try to show up in a place I call negative E, where we got less than nothing. Your cup is empty, it's dirty, or it's broken. It may be one of the three. But yes, empty, dirty, or broken. It may be one of the three. And that's a whole nother talk. We can talk about those empty, dirty, and broken cups. But when you show up in that space, you're not offering people the best parts of you. You're not. because you don't have access to it. But when you filled yourself, your cup, when you've taken care of you and you can show up with your true sexy from the inside out, then I'm serving from a place I call saucer life, because the saucer is the overflow, the abundant place that I get to give to you. So you want me to show up selfish, actually, with my self care, because you benefit from it at the end of the day if you really understand it. So a lot of the pushback is really for lack of understanding of how we really need to think about this self care, and not allow the world, because the world will try it, to weaponize self care is selfish against us, as opposed to embracing and say, girl, let her do her thing, because when she show back up, baby, she gonna be so powerful, she gonna be so good and right, she finna get everybody together, and we will. All of y'all are gonna get exactly what you need when we've gotten what we needed first. No guilt and no apology. Ain't no sorries for me ever showing up and taking care of myself. Don't nobody have to understand. I don't need no cosign. I can write all these checks by myself. I don't need no help. Okay? But too many of us are waiting on somebody else to grant us permission, and it's time out. Like, I don't need your permission to love me. I
Right.
don't. And we need to get in a space that we understand
I love that, Dr. Shana. You always make me want to catch the Holy Ghost. I love it. I love it.
that.
Okay, so
Funny.
just because I know we're gonna talk about like about your projects and the things that you're doing. So I
Yeah,
know that you have some courses and all of that as well as your
yeah.
book. But let's just say that I'm coming to you as a person. I've never met Dr. Shana. I've just now seen her on social media, and I'm coming to her as a woman who is overworked, a mom that's struggling,
Mhm,
that's whatever.
mhm.
Give me an idea of kind of how you structure what you can do to help me from this point, with me coming in and not knowing that I'm sexy, I don't have no self-care yet, I'm on negative E, like, so kind of give us an idea of how you structure that.
Of what it looks like. So listen, so you are the poster child that needs exactly what I got to offer, right? The poster child, because I was you, right? I was her. So where we start with this, most often women who enter in my program, I have a group coaching program. And so they enter in this program. I have a 3 day, and I put everybody through this 3 day first, because there's so much information that we don't know about wellness and self care. So there's a 3 day wellness accelerator, that I say is powerful. Is powerful. So that would be, if you want to call it, ground zero, kind of the training ground for what we don't even know about wellness. And I teach you the dimensions of wellness, and we do this in a group setting, and it is so. For me, honestly, the content is amazing, Holly, but the community is everything, because you find out you ain't by yourself, sis. We all out here struggling together. We all look good, but we all got some stuff going on, that we ain't said out loud. Okay. But we're in a safe space, and when I say the women inside of the community are so supportive of each other, like that, to me is the most empowering piece. And so there's the content. There's also some assessments women can take, at various levels of my program, to really see where they are with their wellness, what their real deficits are. And in many of my program options, there's options to have some one-on-one sessions as well too, depending on what level a woman comes in on, and we get to really work on her individual issues, right? And then we go back to the group, because the group, we can't do this without the group. You got to have the group support. And what I love about the group, is that I also, in various levels of my program, bring in other experts in different areas of wellness, to really teach, because I want us to get clear about some things. I want us to have actionable steps. I want us to know, okay, so here are the 2 things that I need to work on over the next 30 days. Like, we can't get overwhelmed with everything. And that's what happens to a lot of folks when they enter into a wellness or self-care space. You get this long laundry list of things you think you're supposed to do. You could do any of it, but you're not going to do all of it at the same time. So we work to help you figure out, where do you even start? Like, what's the one thing you can do, sis, right now that's going to make the biggest difference? And once you get that one figured out, then what's the next thing you can add to it? So we look at really pacing this out and helping a woman figure out where she really is and where can she make the biggest impact. First by giving her the foundation, and then we can choose from that place. So I love this work, and the women that I've worked with over the last couple of years, I've enjoyed watching their transformations, honey. We some sexy sisters out here now, and I'm happy to be a part of the movement of the sexy sisters showing up. Okay.
I love it. I love it. That's right. That's right. You got me feeling sexy too, Dr. Shana. So I know that your book, strong. What is? I'm strong, not
Self
you.
care is the new
That,
sexy.
that's my persona, not yours. Self care is the new sexy. Is your book that you just released, right?
Yeah,
So tell us
yeah,
about that
yeah.
because that was exciting.
Yes, yes. So self care is a new sexy. The playbook is twofold. It is in part it is my wellness journey, the story that I actually tell about pieces of what I just shared. I go into more depth in the book. So I share my actual wellness journey. And then I give you the play by play, literally what I had to do, the sexy habits that I had to create, because each of SEXY, each of them represents a habit, a way of thinking or being that I had to adopt in order for me to show up in power. And so I walk you through that. And then there's also a workbook that complements it as well, because what I didn't want women to do was just read it and get it and say, oh, that was so nice. And she ain't do nothing. Because you know that's what we'll do. We'll read like, oh, that was, oh, we won't read it at all. And we'll just leave it on our shelf. But I wanted to give her something that's
Become
interactive. So it
a
has some questions.
nightstand collector. I know,
Exactly.
guilty,
How many of them do we have, Holly? We got a lot of them.
guilty.
Guilty. But I wanted her to be able to read it, have a workbook to go along with it, so that she's actually writing her actionable steps, her actual plan, so that when she finishes, she really has something that she can hold on to. So it's a great read, and people have said it sounds like you just talking to us, and that's really how I wrote it. I wrote it in a way that's very conversational, relatable, and I share a whole lot of about my journey, that women can relate to. But giving you the steps on how you, my sister, can get your sexy back, honey, or get one period if you didn't have one to begin with. But we all gonna leave out of this thing sexy at the end of the day.
There you go.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
already feel it. I absorbed it. I feel it. I'm rocking it today. So so I know that you have a compilation book that you have that's releasing now, and you're
Mm-hmm.
doing a lot of promo about that. So give us the insight on that as well, because I love when I see these types of projects. Whenever you kind of get other women that have similar
Yeah.
things, similar mindsets, similar ideas, and you all come together and make like this epic book. So tell us about that.
So that is, I mean, that's such a great project. So that is my anthology, and it's a trilogy. So this is the third installation of it, and it's called "When Destiny Needs an Intervention." And so, how this relates to my greater work is I'm all about empowering us as women. At the end of the day, I want sisters to stand in power. I want us to be assertive. We have voices that deserve to be heard, honey. And so that's what this book is about. And it's this one is 10 women who are sharing their journeys to their destiny, whatever it might have been. It may be from grief to grace to not people pleasing, saying no, to relationships that were toxic, to choosing yourself. I mean, there's some really amazing stories. So it really is a textbook. Like you could read it and write down some steps on what to do and what not to do, to help save yourself at the end of the day. And so, when Destiny's Intervention Volume 3 is part of what I call my Destiny Dynasty, because 1 and 2 were Amazon bestsellers, and I anticipate Volume 3 doing the very same thing. And these women are phenomenal. Many of them have gone through my wellness program, so they have that foundation of, being sexy inside out, and being brave and bold and all of those things, and helping other women do very similar things. So it's a powerful, powerful, powerful book that is just releasing, and I'm so excited about that too, Holly.
Okay, good. Okay, well, I can't wait to read it, and I'm excited. One, I love the red. It looks so royal.
Yes,
I love the graphics. So I'm super excited
yes.
about that. Now, can you tell us about any other projects that you have and how we can support you with those projects?
Whew, I got lots of projects, Holly. So that's a loaded question,
Okay, so like
but
the
I'll give you a
projects
few.
in like the next 2, 3 months. I know
Yes,
Essence is
there you go.
huge. Yeah.
Yes, narrow it down. All right, so I'm gonna give you the next 60 days, these projects. Okay, so the very next project that I have is the Essence Weekend. I'm so excited to be a co host for an event called Women of the World. It's a wow experience, July the 1st in Nolens. If you are anywhere near New Orleans, during the Essence Festival weekend, you want to be in the space. It's a full day. When I say it's from 10 to 10, it's from 10 to 10. There's going to be a lot of activity. There's a conference of powerful women, entrepreneurs, business women, empowering women. Like we got some showstoppers, some celebrities coming by. It's going to be a really great day of empowerment 10 to 3 at the Doubletree Hilton Hotel on Canal Street. And in the middle of that, Holly, when you're part of the morning, but also the afternoon, where we'll have the What Women Want panel with the SPGs, the Salt and Pepper Gang. And that's going to be phenomenal and exciting to get the fellas in the house in a room full of women. Ooh, that's going to be good. It's going to be good. We're going to have the fire marshals around there or something. I know because you already know it's going to get heated in this joint. But that's going to be an amazing conversation. And then the night we're going to conclude it with the only fashion show happening at Essence Festival. And it is curated by Lashley Brand, and we have ex NFL player Stevie Baggs as our host, and then we have Melanie Sanders as a co-host. We got some other folks coming through there. Like it's going to be phenomenal. Beautiful people, great food, fellowship. Listen, it's a whole day. So that's happening July 1st. In the end of the month, I am taking this on the road, honey, and we're going to the Caribbean, to Saint Martin. So self care is the new sexy. The retreat is happening July 27th through the 31st in St. Martin. And so it is technically sold out. But if there was someone listening to this, like, oh, I really would love to go to that Dr. Shana 5 days and 4 nights in paradise, send me a message and we'll see what we can do. But it's going to be a phenomenal time as well. So a lot of good things going on, Holly, all of which are to support us as women. I just want us to be amazing. Everything I do is to make sure my sisters are okay. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, I'm here for us. I am. And anything you see me doing, we're going to be tied to it and we're going to be better as a result of it. So those are all of the up and coming things that you can find Dr. Shana doing in these streets.
Okay, I love it. I love it. And yes, I'm excited to be part of the WOW experience and all of that going on in Essence as well. So if you're following me on social media, you know I post about it all the time. Get your tickets, all that great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So before we go, Dr. Shana, can you drop all of your contact information? Because I know everyone is like, okay, so how do I find her? Shana, how do you spell Shana? What is that? So drop
I
all your
know.
social media handles and your website information.
Okay, so you can follow me on IG, TikTok, and I am Dr. Shana. iamdrshana. Give your girl some love. You can also go to my website at drshanadlewis.com, DRSHANA. DLewis.com to find out about all of the various events and things that I am doing. And also, let me just gift a free gift. Can I give a free gift today
Yeah.
too, Holly?
We love free.
So if you won't we love free honey? Because one of my favorite things as far as self-care is concerned is meditation. And it's one of I love it because it is my way to tap in every single day. And so I have a free meditation. If you go to selfcareistheanswer.com, then you will find that free meditation gift there for you. So yeah, those are the places and spaces that you can find me. But definitely reach out, DM me, and let me know if there's anything I can do to serve you, and I'd be happy to do so.
Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, and I will have all of Dr. Shana's information in the podcast notes, as well as if you are watching a clip and you see a clip or whatever in YouTube, wherever you see it, I'll also have all of the stuff written down because some people got a little slow and don't know how to put letters together and spell. So they're
We'll
always
help the
like,
people out, Charlie.
yes, they're always,
We'll help them out.
yeah, they're always like, "Oh, I'm so glad you put it in the podcast notes because I sure missed the whole thing." I'm like, "You're welcome. I know. I know."
It's okay, but we got you.
I love that. I love that. So, thank you so much, Dr. Shana. I definitely love some of the things that you said. I'm implementing those into my life as well. I love just some of the just some of the analogies that you use, like the negative E, the boundaries versus rules. I definitely took some notes myself because I know just having multiple things, multiple jobs, it's like the more you elevate, the more you have to put those boundaries in place. And I love
Yes.
that you gave us that example because I'm definitely feeling that I need to start having some boundaries to have some
Yep.
rules. So
Yes,
thank you.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
So
Yes,
that
ma'am.
is Dr. Shana, executive wellness coach and mental health expert. Thank you, Dr. Shana.
Thank you, Holly. Have a great one.